Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Purana Sindhu, Dinabandhu, Jagatpade, Gopisha, Gopi Kanta, Radha. These prayers that the boys just chanted are written by Raghunath Das Goswami. In our Gaudiya Vaishnava or Sri Caitanya Sampradaya, Raghunath Das Goswami is called the Prayojanacharya. That means what he expressed in his writings, what he gave as his ultimate teaching in his mature stage of Krishna Bhakti, that is taken to be the highest achievement, the highest goal. And this little group of 11 prayers, he is expressing himself to Govardhana. Govardhana is a place in Vrindavan. We'll discuss more about that, where it is and everything. It is a place, it is a village place, and he is pleading with his innermost heart to be accepted and given some place of residence in Govardhana, at Govardhana Hill. In 10 verses prior to these, he's praying for the shelter of Govardhana. First, the shelter. So today is the Govardhana Puja day. Govardhana Puja is known throughout India, but not as well as it is known in northern India, and particularly in that part of northern India where we find Vrindavan. And there is not a house for hundreds of kilometers in any direction from Vrindavan. There is not a temple or a house or an urgent man and woman in the street, half mad, roaming the street, is not celebrating Govardhana Puja today. Even the animals and the beast and the trees and the plants, they are celebrating Govardhana Puja today in some form or another. So today, yesterday, lakhs and lakhs of devotees, they did a parikram of Govardhana. Through the day, through the night, today, tomorrow. At any time of the year, you'll find devotees doing parikram of Vrindavan, but particularly around this time, Govardhana Puja time. So 5,000 years ago, when Krishna was present on this planet, when he was still very young, long before going to Kurukshetra, long before speaking Bhagavad Gita, he was living in Vrindavan. Now yesterday I was describing to one of our new members the ontological position of the world that we live in, and above the world, Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, the spiritual abode, the eternal, infinite world. I was describing something of that place. Generally, that we cannot find that information anywhere. It doesn't appear in the newspaper. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just discovered there's another world. It is eternal. You can go there and live forever. No. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister just stole 400 crores. There's a bomb in Delhi. The Congress is raising your taxes. And on and on. And these are your friends who died. There's a list in the back, the obituaries. There's no news of it. And this younger generation, they are born into this world, and they're basically raised to become factory workers, support the liquor industry by drinking incessantly and smoking incessantly, or going off to war and dying for their country. There are not many aspirations in the world for the people that are born here. Not many at all. Oh, of course, you could get rich and maybe avoid all of these things. Not possible. The rich also suffer. And sometimes they suffer more than the poor. There's no happy news in this world. No one has come to tell us what is beyond this world. Where were you in the last life? Where will you go in the future life? That means nobody in this world really cares about you or cares for you. But those who come with this knowledge, they are our real well-wishers. They come to tell us who we are, where we came from, what is beyond this world, what is our highest prospect, what you can achieve. What you can achieve. And Krishna himself comes into this world to show you what you can achieve and how to achieve that. And his devotees and his subsequent incarnations like Lord Caitanya, particularly Lord Caitanya, he comes into this world to show how to achieve our greatest fortune, to enlighten us, to take us out of the ignorance of this world, and to give us information, what is happening, what is our prospect. When we come in connection with that prospect and we understand it, we coincidentally understand nothing is as important as your spiritual life. Absolutely nothing. The whole world can burn. It doesn't mean anything because it isn't worth anything anyway. It is going to burn anyway. When Lord Shiva plays his din-din drum, the world will burn. It will be destroyed. It is destined for that. It is like in the battlefield. There's war. There are wounded soldiers. The medics, the doctors come into the field hospital. There's limited medicine. They come to a soldier. Sometimes the doctor says, save the medicine. It won't help him. Means there's nothing can be done. He will die today. Then they find someone, he's only half or 3/4 dead or something like that. They'll give medicine to him. They will not give the medicine to the person who's sure to die. Maybe his head is blown off or something. He's sure to die. Sure to die. Nothing can be done. That is this world. Sure to die. Everyone is sure to die. Everything is sure to be destroyed. Every empire that is ever created will fall. Sure, sure, sure. There's nothing that can be done about it. Therefore, save yourself. Save your family. Save your nation. Save your village, your town, your country. Save save the world. From what? From being victimized by this world. Advance in your spiritual life towards your eternal home. So we were discussing something about this eternal place far, far away in the infinite. As we were feeling hunger in our stomachs, some uncomfort created by heat. We're talking idealistically about this world that is forever and no suffering. Well, I forgot to mention in that conversation to those devotees I was talking to, that world comes here. That world comes here. So that it is not just an ideal which you have heard about, although that's not a bad thing. That world manifests here, so that we will have some direct experience of that world. So when Krishna Avatar comes, he manifests that world that is called Vrindavan. We call it as a Vrindavan Dham. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, he manifests that world as Navadvip Dham. Now in one day, 1 week, or probably for the next several years, it's not possible to explain everything about the infinite world. If you begin to understand what is infinite, then you can understand that statement. But to give us some direction, we can have some talk about that world. And that world manifests here. It is somewhere far beyond the universe, but it manifests here. So someone may say, how's that possible? Then we simply say, have you ever seen a television? And what is far, far away is manifest by sound, by form, inside your house, in your car, in your office, or in your, wherever you are, by this television. A very crude example, but nonetheless, the form and sound, it is there. And you can have some experience of what is happening and see it and hear it, although it is far away. When Krishna manifests his abode, when he appears in his incarnation, it is not so crude as a television. It is fully three-dimensional, present here. And there are many people who witnessed Krishna's Leela. In Vrindavan, also his Mahabharat Leela, they witnessed that. There is a book, there are many books on this subject. There's one book called Harivamsa, that means the family of Hari, the family of Krishna. It's all about the Yadus and the extended family of Krishna. And it mentions various cities where they lived and things and places where they went. Well, the Archaeological Survey of India has a special team that just researches the places mentioned in that book. And they have found so many, a list as long as your arm. Yes, Krishna was here, they found some ancient city in the ground. Yes, Krishna was there, they found some ancient city in the ground. But there are other religions in the world that are very big, very popular, and when they go to look for the place of their origin, where there was supposed to be a big city, like where Jesus was born, they go there, dig in the ground, and there's nothing. They cannot find any evidence or any proof that such a place existed at that time and in that location. But throughout India, because of this Harivamsa, the Archaeological Survey of India has designated many places in relation to Lord Krishna. And Vrindavan, of course, is the central place. But unfortunately, they don't do any archaeological expeditions there because there's no space left. There are about 6,000 temples in that little village, and thousands of ashrams, some ashrams with as many as 500 rooms for guests. No place to dig. So, there are plenty of experience. Of course, that type of archaeological experience, that is what we call that. That's the empirical knowledge. Empirical knowledge will attract your mind, but not your heart. It's good. It satisfies your intellect, questioning by the intellect and the mind. But empirical knowledge does not satisfy your heart. And it does not actually cultivate faith, which is called Shraddha, which is a spiritual substance within each of us. That does not cultivate faith. So in Vrindavan, we don't really have any archaeological places to visit, but the place itself is a spiritual place. By every atom and grain of sand that exists in that great area of Vrindavan, it has got pure spiritual existence. And those who have the eyes to see beyond the city council's mismanagement, the congestion of rickshawwallas outside all the big temples, and the conniving Marwaris in the marketplace, they can see that eternal space, Vrindavan, where Krishna's pastimes are eternally being performed. But even those who don't have any knowledge, who don't have any regard, have their stories to tell how when they're taking a night train from Delhi to Agra and it passes through Mathura and they wake up in the middle of the night. It's very, very common. I've been and seen night trains before when whole bogies, people were just awake. The train comes through Mathura and everybody just wakes up. Because that space that they travel through is not a material space. Because it is not a material space, the modes of material nature are not so oppressive there. And when you're really pressed by the mode of ignorance, you sleep like a baby. But when you're not, when you're more in the mode of passion or the mode of goodness, your sleep is lighter. And if suddenly you enter a space where there's no mode of nature, sometimes you'll wake up from the deadest sleep, just like this. And when you go there, you'll find out that getting up early in the morning, it's easy. It's so easy. Everything is very easy there to do with Krishna. And anything you want to do that's not to do with Krishna, or you might think it's to do with Krishna, but actually it's not, it is 10 times more difficult than anywhere else. It actually used to be, we used to arrive in the airport and have a brand new tape recorder and get in a taxi and get to Vrindavan. By the time we got to Vrindavan, the thing didn't work anymore. Now I thought that only happened to me. I found out that happened to hundreds of people. Material things just didn't function there very well. Of course, that's not, you're going to find that all the time. But your experience will be at Vrindavan, that everything that is Krishna consciousness, it will come to you like rain from the sky. And more of it than you can actually manage. And anything you want to do material, it will be a tremendous hassle. It will be a burden. So that place has a divine influence, very divine influence, and an experience. From the very beginning, a beginner can go to Vrindavan and experience the nature of that place. Then what of those who are very advanced in spiritual life? What is their experience? And their experience is Krishna directly. They have experience of Krishna and his Leela directly. There's one book called Krishna Karnamrita by a Vaishnava named Bilvamangala Thakur. And he stayed at a place called Brahmakunda. It's another place in Vrindavan, one small lake. Today it doesn't look very impressive. In those days it was a nice natural surrounding like this. He lived there for a very long time, and he chanted the holy name of Krishna very, very sincerely. And then he recorded his experiences in this book. And those experiences are the pastimes, the Leelas of Krishna. They are recorded in that. But who's heard about this place, Vrindavan? Or anything about it? Hardly anyone. No good news. This should be such good news to the world that there are spiritual places where we can go there. Just like when your car is out of gas, what do? When you're out of petrol, you pull up at a petrol station. A petrol bund, it's called. A bund means like a place where it's stocked up. In English means a petrol stock. Well, Vrindavan is like a spiritual stock. You want to go there and refill your tanks. So that is called the Dham, Krishna's Dham, where directly Krishna has appeared at some time and eternally manifests his presence there. And even from the remote section when we approach, we can feel Krishna's presence there. Prabhupada used to say, one artik, who does artik, who sees artik, one, is equal to 1,000 artiks made in another place. And that also means Tirupati. Vrindavan is 1,000 times greater than Tirupati. Thousands of times greater than Tirupati. So, and those who know that, like I say, it's not just a few hundred, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of devotees who know this, not just throughout India, but all over the world. And today is one of those very important days where everyone goes to Govardhana and worships Govardhana. Why Govardhana? Why not worshipping Kalpavriksha trees? They're also in Vrindavan, spiritual trees. Why Govardhana here? So, back to 5,000 years ago on this day, Nanda Maharaj, the father of Krishna, and the cowherd man, they were performing a great yajna. This was discussed last night, but most of you weren't here last night. So they were performing a big sacrifice for Indra. Indra seems to have gotten most of the attention of the Rig Veda. In the Rig Veda, Indra gets most of everybody's attention. Water is a big thing in the Rig Veda. They're living on the banks of the Saraswati River at that time, the rishis. Water, 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 they are interested in water. And Indra brings down the water. The sun, well, the sun's there every day. There's never been a sun drought. Understand? So when you begin to think in other cultures of the world, we see there was a lot of focus on the sun, the worship of the sun. The Persians, the Romans, the Greek, the Egyptians. A lot of focus on the sun. But in India there was more focus on the rain. A little higher thinking, you'll see that, no, the sun will be there. Even if it's a cloudy day, the sun is there. The sun will come. It comes every day. There's no question. Rain doesn't come every day or even every year. Here we got huge rains, and in Bangalore we haven't had huge rains here in 10 years. And over on the coast, it didn't rain at all last week. It was raining like anything here and in Bangalore, and over in Bangalore there was no rain. It was sunny skies every day. And in the monsoon I used to see it raining on the ocean, and it wasn't raining on the land. And overall the coast, Karnataka coast, got very less rain this year. You cannot say rain will come. Sometimes it doesn't come. Not for a year, a week. Sometimes it doesn't come for 100 years. There are droughts. The rain goes and doesn't come for 100 years or 1,000 years, and deserts develop and such things. But the sun will come every single day. So the Rig Veda rishis, they gave a lot of attention to Indra. And for the common folks, it was tradition. So those Vrindavan people, they're the common folks. They're not the big rishis. And they're worshipping Indra every year. At that time, Krishna grew up. He's 4 or 5 years old. And he came in the morning when everything was being arranged. And he asked his father, "What is this?" And his father said, "Oh, this is a big yajna we're performing. You step aside." And then he pulled on his father's coat and said, "Please explain, who does this sacrifice go to and what is its purpose?" Pretty bright for a 5-year-old boy. And very charming boy. And no one can resist him. And so Nanda Maharaj, he explained about the intricacies of the worship of Indra, who provides the rain, the demigod, the deva, for providing the rain. And when he had thought he had explained everything nicely and they could continue, then Krishna said, "But that seems quite redundant. I mean, it rains on the ocean. It rains all the time. It just rains. And it's very easy to see that it's Govardhana Hill that provides our necessity. Govardhana Hill provides the grass for our cows. Govardhana Hill is our shelter. All our boys, we play on Govardhana Hill. Actually, what business do we have with Indra? It's better if we worship Govardhana Hill." So in a very childish way, Krishna convinced his father, why bother with Indra? He's going to rain anyway. He throws rain all over the place. I mean, how intelligent is he? He rains on the ocean. So it's not necessary. We will simply worship Govardhana Hill. As I said before, no one can resist Krishna. If he told you to stand on your head and wiggle your toes, that's where you'd be. You would just obey the charm of Krishna. So beautiful, so sweet, irresistible. So, on this day, long back, they took everything that they were going to make for Indra and they turned it and they worshipped Govardhana Hill. Today, Govardhana Hill is 7 kilometers long and 50 meters wide, and again 7 kilometers back, 14 kilometers to round Govardhana Hill. In those days, it was many, many, many times taller than you see today. The shadow of Govardhana used to touch Mathura, which is 33 kilometers. In the evening, when the sun set, the shadow of Govardhana would touch. There were waterfalls and all sorts of wonderful things, caves, waterfalls, pastures on Govardhana Hill. It was very, very big. And at one point, Govardhana is called Giriraj, the king of mountains. But now if we go there, it's scarcely 30 meters tall at the highest point, with very less vegetation. And there is reason for that, spiritual reason for that also. So Govardhana was worshipped, and everyone was very happy, except Indra. And Indra had been waiting his offerings, which he would receive. And all these things were thrown in the worship of a mountain. In Indra's worldview, these people should be punished. They listened to a mere child. They have foregone the sacrifice of the gods, and they've worshipped a hill at the advice of a mere child. These people should be punished. Well, when they were worshipping Govardhana Hill, they saw something very wonderful. All of a sudden, that personality they know as Krishna, that frolicsome young boy of Vrindavan, all of a sudden he appeared as the size of Govardhana. And all the food things and everything that were placed in front of Govardhana Hill, the people saw Govardhana is eating. That's why we put face on Govardhana. This stone comes from that hill. It comes from there to here. We paint Krishna's eyes. Rub off the eyes, they're still there. That's why we painted them there, so you can see them better. And if you don't believe me, just ask the Govardhan Bhaktas who worships Govardhan Shila. And almost all of them will turn and show you Krishna's face on their Shalika, on their Govardhan. So they could see then without any ornamentation, that's called Shringar, they could see Krishna in the form of Govardhan Hill. That same small Krishna, now 7 kilometers in size, and a huge mouth, he's eating all the offerings and everything offered to him. Everyone could see this, except Indra. All he could see was these people pushing all this food up against this mountain, and waving incense at this mountain, and smiling at this cowherd boy. So he was infuriated, and I guess as we've seen in different places in this last year or two, the devas in charge of wind, rain, fire, earthquakes, when they get angry, there can be hell to pay. So Indra sent his, that's called Samvantaka. He sent the clouds which are summoned when Pralaya takes place. And he sent them on the village of Vrindavan. And it rained so hard and so fast that normal shelters were just devastated and destroyed. Things that would usually give some shelter from the rain. People's homes and things. All were decimated within moments. And flood waters rose to dangerous levels all over Vrindavan. At that point, people turned to Krishna. What do we do now? What do we do now? Cows were mooing, calves were crying, ladies were crying, girls were screaming. We're all going to die, we're all going to die. The floodwaters are coming. What do we do now? We've angered Indra. They're torn between pleasing Krishna and how to deal with the angry Indra. So for a moment, they're completely at a loss. What to do. They turn to Krishna for shelter. Then Krishna said, Govardhan has always been our provider. Why he should forsake us now? Govardhan will give us all shelter. So Krishna just lifted down, caught Govardhan under his little finger of his left hand and said, see? And he raised that mountain with his left hand. And said, come under Govardhan. So then everybody came under Govardhan. All the residents of Vrindavan gathered under Govardhan Hill. And Indra kept throwing the rains for 7 days and 7 nights, non-stop. And during those 7 days and nights, nobody felt sleepy, nobody felt hunger, nobody felt cold, or any wind that was howling and blowing all around. Under Govardhan Hill, nobody felt anything. Govardhan Hill gave everyone shelter. Seeing Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill with one little finger of his left hand, the cowherd boys, they also want to get in on the act. Oh, we'll help. They stuck their sticks up. We're here too. And everybody was very happy. This is called pastime. What does God do when he comes? Make ashes? Build a few temples? He does wonderful things. Wonderful things beyond human imagination. And there is beauty in his Leela. There is charm. There is sweetness. There is knowledge. That if God wants to shelter us, no one can harm us. If he wants to harm us, where you'll find shelter? Where will you hide? If he wants to take away from you, what can you hold on to? If he wants to give you, how much can you receive? If God wants to take something from you, how will you hang on to it? If he wants to give you something, how much can you receive of it? He gives so much prasadam, we try and we try. How many chapatis can you eat? 6, 7? Idlis? 15? 20? That's old men. 3, 4? 2? Krishna can give thousands. How much can you take? And when Krishna wants to take something from you, how can you keep it? So there's knowledge in Krishna's Leela also. Sweetness, beauty, charm, and knowledge is there. That is necessary. Also, this point, God does something superhuman. Someone may say, oh, there's incarnation, he makes ashes. I always say, cigarettes make ashes. What is superhuman about? No one can lift a mountain. I never saw any machinery lift a mountain. Nothing can lift a mountain. You ever seen anybody lift a mountain? Anything lift a mountain? Even by nature, and that mountain just jump up and be in the air, a mountain? No, mountains are always on the ground. Some rocks fall off here and there. Big, heavy earth equipment can go there and blast a hole and tear it down, but anybody went there and lifted with their big machine, or all the big machines of the world get around and lift a mountain? It's not possible. So, Krishna will do things which are superhuman. They cannot be done even by imitating. They cannot be done. No one can lift a mountain. Yet Krishna lifted a mountain. So that is a challenge. He's also issuing a challenge at that time. Let all these God-men of Kali Yuga come here and lift Govardhana Hill. Let them come and lift Govardhana Hill. The amazing thing is, you'll never find those people at Govardhana Hill. Because the only people who go to Govardhana Hill are the devotees. And every once in a while, a few yogis show up, but they're very short-lived. They hang out for a little time, then they go to Hardwar and Rishikesh. I saw once some yogis doing meditation in May. I went to Govardhana Hill in May. It's a very difficult time. You have to do parikrama in the night because it's so hot in the day. You can't walk on the ground. It's so hot. But in the daytime when we went there, there were some yogis doing one of those classic meditations in the hot season, sitting in the sun, and they build fire all around. They burn grass in a circle of fire, and they sit in the circle of fire under the beating, 45 degrees Celsius, that's 120 degrees Fahrenheit, direct sun, and they do meditation. So generally you would be very impressed. So we went there, and someone said, oh, Guru Maharaj, look, yogis are doing meditation. And he said, look at this fool. He has his back to Govardhan. He's sitting, showing his backside to Govardhan, doing his meditation. We went again the next week. He packed up and gone. Such antics and things are not impressive in Vrindavan amongst the Brajavasis. They are impressed only by devotion, not by austerity, not by all big knowledge and these things. So, Krishna's pastime also presents a challenge to imitationists. And when someone says God is great, what does that mean? Great. The only great thing the world has heard that God did is He created this world. That's it. The only great thing He did was create the world. And what He did with the rest of His time since then till now, no one has any idea. But in Krishna conception, we have some idea of the activity of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, starting early in the morning until late at night. 24 hours a day, what is the activity? What is the pastime? Pastime means a joyful play with no other cause than one's leisure enjoyment to be derived from that play. It doesn't have to be, it simply is pastime. Most of us don't know what is pastime. We have no pastime. We are working hard. We are struggling in this world. It is a struggle for survival, a struggle for happiness. Pastime is a luxury that few people have ever even partially experienced in this world. But pastime is all of Krishna's time. Everything is pastime. He's not under any stress of this world, any demand of this world. His will is everything. God's will is everything. Krishna's will is everything. We tell these words back and forth, God, Krishna, but lastly, simply Krishna. Simply Krishna. Bhakti is not concerned with God. God is a lower conception, not higher idea. God imparts fear. Just like there's an atheist. He doesn't believe in God. And there's a theist, he believes in God. So, they're always arguing. But lastly, the atheist, the theist, he says, all right, you say there is no God. And I die, I believe that there's God. And I die, there's no God. So what? You believe there's God, and when you die, there is none. Then so what? So what means, what did you lose? Nothing. There's no God. But you're the atheist. You don't believe in God. You die, there is one. Then what do? You were wrong. So if the theist is wrong, he doesn't lose anything. If the atheist is wrong, he might want to rethink his position. There is no God. So, atheist says there is no God, but theist position is always safer, always better. But Krishna conception is not like that. We're not so much into, oh, he is God, he is God. No fear. Great reverence. Reverence means some type of a fear, stepping out of the way, getting back. That's one of the nice things about this day. In a temple, most of you, through your life, cannot cross the door. How many times have you been to Ranganath or Tirupati or Sri Rangam or Udupi, and you've gone for the darshan, but you can't cross the door. You can see only. You are not allowed. But when Krishna comes, and when Krishna comes as Govardhana Hill, all those rules are laid down, flat. And everybody comes. Everybody comes to offer to Krishna. Everybody prepares food to offer to Krishna. Everybody can offer a deepam to Krishna. Everybody can bathe Krishna in Abhishek. This is big Abhishek day for Govardhana. Everybody. Otherwise, only Brahmins, they will come. People stand back. Other people stand more back. Untouchables are way back. But on Govardhana Puja day, everybody comes. Therefore, Govardhana may be considered the most merciful form of Krishna. The most merciful form of Godhead. Because on that day, this day, everybody comes and worships Krishna. And Govardhana is there all the time. And devotees are coming, circumambulating, taking darshan on their head. Like if you go to Pandharpur. What is it called? Pandharpur, Maharashtra. I went there long back, like 20-something years back. And Vamana was going there. So when he was going, I said, oh, Vamana, that place is very unique. And we talked about that place. I said, and when you go for darshan, just when you come in front of Krishna, the Brahmin will take your head and push down on the foot of Krishna. But not in Tirupati, no chance. Not in Udupi, no chance. There are so many bars. You're looking through small holes to see Krishna. But in Pandharpur, you come in front of Krishna, they grab your head and push your head right on the foot of Krishna. Of course, if you've been there before, you know what to do. But most people, they're looking, they push the head down. But generally, how you can touch deity, ordinary people like this, in touch with the world and all these things, not possible to touch. But Krishna, you'll find many places, some great mercy, all rules laid flat. And he wants his devotees to come close. They come so close to Krishna, in Krishna's Leela, they sit on his shoulder. In Christianity, Jesus is sitting on the right hand of God. The first idea is God is really big. Because Jesus, who was almost 6 foot tall, he's sitting on the hand. But in Krishna, they're sitting on Krishna. You are sitting on his shoulders. In Vrindavan, Krishna's boyfriends, cowherd boys, they're jumping on Krishna's shoulder and riding. Go, go, go. So one, you are close to God, but one, you are more than close to God. You are so much one with him in love and affection, you can sit on him. That's there. Here, we practice a little different. We don't think, oh, I'll come and sit on Krishna. We don't think like that. But we know that Krishna wants us to come so close as to become a member of his family. Therefore we call it Achyuta Gotra. When you go to big, big temples in India, when you come up close, the priest will say, what is your Gotra? And you say some rishi's name. That means your caste came from some rishis and all these things came down. But when you are Krishna Vaishnava, Chaitanya Vaishnava, and they say, what is your Gotra? You say, Achyuta Gotra. That means your family is Krishna. Krishna is your family. Not these rishis. You believe what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Pitaham, I am father. If Krishna is father, who are you? Then you are son of God. You are a daughter of God. God is father. Father, son, father, daughter. What is that? That is family. Krishna's family. You cannot enter family of Narayan. Plants are many varieties. Who is to say what is the most beautiful flower? What is the most beautiful flower? Very hard to say. According to your liking, you may prefer rose or lotus or different things. But when you are Ayurvedic doctor, then you will be able to say which is best plant. Which is best. Which is best. Because all plants are not the same, ultimately, in terms of the benefit that they can give to us. Many people in India worship Shiva. They say Shiva is God, but Shiva himself says, I cannot give you mukti. Mukti means liberation from the suffering of this world. He cannot give that. He tells Parvati, only Mukunda. Mukunda. Where's Mukunda? Mukunda Das. Only Mukunda. He gives mukti. Krishna, he can give liberation, mukti. Not Shiva. Narayan, yes, partially, but not fully. So there are different gradations of religion. All religion is not one. All conceptions of God are not one. And everyone's destination is not the same. There is no Yatamat Tatapat. If when you leave here today, and those of you who are going to Mysore, take off in the direction of Pandavpur, and those who are going to Bangalore take off in the direction of Nanjangud, none of you will reach home ever, because you're going in the wrong direction. So it isn't that anything you do, it is worshiping God. No, it isn't. And even if you are worshiping God, there are different levels of God's incarnations and His teachings. And according to that, we may get, well not may, we get a future destination. And those who are totally wasteful of the human form of life, they don't get a human life in their next life. No chance. There's a big waiting list. If you want to see some of the people waiting to become humans, leave some sugar on the floor in your kitchen. They'll be there in the morning. About 1,000 ants will come crawling up out of your kitchen floor, and they'll be there. The ants are passing their time waiting for their opportunity when their Atma will come to human life. And those who are here now in the human society, if they don't care for the purpose of human life, which is not terrorism, which is not economic development, which is not waging war on other countries, none of these things are the goal of life, which is not higher education, which amounts to so much sense gratification and exploiting the world and making it a horrible place to live, well then they won't get a human life in their next life. Then they can live in other species of life where they will not be so troublesome to maintain. There's massive arrangement in nature. See how it functions and goes on. Every disturbance we have in nature can be traced to human beings. Every one of them. Even the big ones. We think we can take all the oil out of the earth, we can burn it all, pollute the ozone, contaminate all the water supplies, genocide other species, and nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to go wrong. Everything is going to go wrong. Everything that you can think of is going to go wrong in Kali Yuga. My father used to say there's only two things you have to do in life. Die and pay taxes. So I avoided one of those, the taxes. And then, what was his other wisdom? Only two things are free in this world, son. Water and air. He was wrong there too. Water is very costly. You get a water bill, municipal water. That water that is poisonous, that you get free. The one you drink, that one you pay for. Water you pay for, and more there'll be tax about air. There are taxes in different places about air. Something which was so free in the world, water and air. Now, what will be the situation 200 years from now? 200 years ago, water and air were in abundance everywhere. You could breathe deep anywhere, almost, 200 years ago. I've said to you many times, if you keep your children in Bangalore, I consider it murder in slow degree. I don't know if that article was circulated. I got one article. It was about children in the air in Bangalore and how much lead is appearing in their bodies from breathing, which will cause them early death, senility, and many troubles. It's not an intelligent place to raise children. There are millions of them there. And in a generation, 40 years from now, what some of these research papers have turned up, they'll be dealing with it in the hospitals. I guess that can also be big business, can't it? Operations, all that. But 200 years ago, that wasn't true. What will be 200 more years? So those who don't want to utilize human life for its real purpose, they end up making a mischief. And if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. This is also the wisdom of the revolutionaries. Those who want to solve the problem realize that those who are not interested, one way or the other, are in the category of the problem. Because you're just blocking the way. They have this thing, you are either for us or against us. So if you don't live rightly, you're automatically living wrongly. There isn't third choice. There is a right and a wrong in this world. And those who live longly, as I said, they don't get human life. There are millions and millions of living entities. They are in the queue, waiting how they will get the human life. They will get human life. And the queue is being shortened. You know, in some countries, they've propagated family control to such an extent they can't get any people. Is it Italy? Not Italy. Switzerland, Germany, Italy. Their population is not growing. It's decreasing by birth, and only by, what do they call it? Immigrants can they maintain their population. Just decreasing the family unit. Less children, no children. Less children, no children. Going down. Also depriving, like that, the living entities to come into the human form of life. Many problems are there. So with Krishna consciousness, we are aware of many of these things, both subtle and gross. And definitely we want to avoid from being victimized by these things. We want to spread some good news. Some good news to the world, some good news to the community. What is our life? What is the prospect of our life? What is this day of Govardhana? To come and take the shelter of Krishna. All rules laid down. Come and bathe Govardhana. See the smiling face of Govardhana. Offer a nice feast to Govardhana and take sumptuous Govardhana prasadam. On this day, we used to go to Vrindavan, and I would boldly announce, actually, I don't believe in any other religion other than the worship of Govardhana. And my religious principle is to walk around Govardhana Hill. That's a strange bit of religion. But if you go to Govardhana Hill on this day, you'll see, oh yes, this is where religion is so sweet. So, Raghunath Das Goswami, many of the great devotees of Krishna, they lived at Govardhan, in that Govardhan area, and they found they're a tremendous inspiration. Then, if someone may say, well, okay, that's what you think, that's what you say, you believe in Govardhana and all that. But, somebody else believes in Jerusalem, somebody else believes in Tirupati, somebody else believes in Ayappa, Subarimalai, it is holy place, somebody believes in Udupi, that is sacred place. Yes, there are many sacred places in the world, but again, all are not the same. Many rishis living in separate places. So what if we wanted to find out which one of them is the highest? How would you go about doing that? Well, most people just want to know which one gives mukti. And if it gives mukti, that's the highest. Well, pretty much you find out they all give mukti. But then you want to know how much bhukti do they give while you're waiting for the mukti. Mukti means how much material enjoyment am I going to get before I get the mukti. And that way Tirupati becomes very, very famous. Because if you give 10,000 to Babaji, he gives how much back? Is it 10 times or 5 times? He made promise because he has some bill to pay. If you give that, he'll give back the next grain of kuvera or something. He'll give back in your next life 5 times that amount. And it's publicized everywhere. And lastly, you'll get the mukti. But you'll get the bhukti on the way. So then people are attracted. But that is not how bhukti. What do you need? Go to Tirupati. Simply go to Bangalore and work like an ass. Start a software company. You'll get bhukti. Plenty. In other words, if all we want is money, you don't have to go to God for that. Money you can get. Many atheists, very rich. Look at the money, where the money went in this world. How many people who have money know how to do anything good? I mean, people with money can't even figure out how to solve the problems of poverty, help the poor, so many things. A little bit they try to fight disease. But the cause of disease, they don't know what to do. So you don't worship God to get money. You can be an atheist and get money. So money is not the proof. And everybody gives mukti. Actually, the proof is this. You find the devotees who worship the God and lived in that place and see what they wrote. And from that, you can ascertain the highness of that place. The highness of the knowledge will be demonstrated by what they wrote, what they said. And many will rise high on knowledge. But above knowledge is sweetness. Knowledge only fulfills to a certain extent. Then we need fulfillment, inner fulfillment in the heart. Knowledge does not penetrate here. It penetrates here. Very lofty thought, a very keen intelligence, and a very high mode of life. High thinking. High thinking. We say simple living and high thinking. But it is simple living and high feeling. Feeling is above wisdom. There have been many great souls. They could not express themselves simply by poetry. But they had a great feeling of achievement in the terms of bhava. That is called bhava, the feeling. That is called prema. Their feelings of love for all living entities and for the supreme living entity. For God, love of God. And love means sacrifice. And how much they are prepared to sacrifice. And all these things will be shown in the writings of the rishis. And after you've gone through them all, then you will come back and agree with me. Yes, Vrindavan is the highest spiritual abode on this planet. And devotion to Krishna evokes the highest sentiments of love of God that can ever appear on this planet. No one has equal. Not the Alwars, not the Smartas, not the Pandits. No one in any other place has equaled the sentiments of those devotees who worship Krishna at Vrindavan. And you may add there also Navadvip. That is another parallel universe, another parallel spiritual abode. Navadvip, the Gupta Vrindavan. But if you don't want to taste, how do you know which wine is best? If you don't want to taste, how you know what cheese is best? If you don't want to taste, how you know what sweet is best? You'll simply be taking somebody else's word for it. And lots of words are out there every day. Everybody's selling their wares. Everybody's preaching their doctrine. But in Krishna consciousness, we say, you must experience it yourself. You must experience that. So we've been here in South India for 11 years, of which for the last, I think, 6 or so, we didn't go to Vrindavan. There are lots of new devotees. Some of our devotees are growing up. So it's time to go to Vrindavan, so that you can have a direct experience of Krishna's abode yourself. Then, what is a temple? What is a temple in relation to Vrindavan? Vrindavan is a dham, a temple is a kshetra. And some kshetras are tirthas. These are all gradations. These are all gradations of spiritual abodes. Govindaji Gardens is in a village called Ganjam. Is this place anything like Ganjam? You ever spend the night in Ganjam? You used to live in Ganjam. You're from Ganjam. Is the atmosphere at Govindaji Gardens the same in Ganjam? Not possible. If we vacate this place and go away, again it is Ganjam. The activity of the presence of the temple, the deity, and the activities of the devotee of service, that also generates and creates a spiritual atmosphere called a kshetra. That is why in the old days they put walls around those places to keep the goats and the dogs and anything non-devotional, including the people who behave like animals, out. And they made one way in through a door, and they put big guards there with talwars to keep out the Maya. And inside there, something else was happening. Krishna or Vishnu was present in the form of that's called Archamurti. The Murti, deity, present in that form. And then the activities there are for the service of Krishna, the pastime of service. So this Govindaji Gardens and other temples, it's not Vrindavan Gardens at the dam. That is not the Vrindavan. And some smartas say, actually, Vrindavan is in South India. They say Krishna's place is actually South India. And we say, yeah, maybe you're right. This is it. But the difference is, even if the non-believer owns a piece of Vrindavan, it's still its Vrindavan. And he may be there and do something non-devotional there. Still it's Vrindavan. It doesn't change. So Govindaji Gardens is like a satellite, what we call like a satellite Vrindavan. Small Govardhana is here. Big Govardhana is there. Krishna's smiling face is here in this doorway. There in the Garbhagudi. You can see. If you have the eyes to see, Krishna is smiling. So many people come here. They stand in front of Krishna, and not a move shows on their face. Then they walk over here to the Sringadev. Bhagavan. They go down. They pull the ears, spin in circles, slap the face, oh Bhagavan, and they go down. You definitely want to go down when you see. When they come in front of Krishna, it's like, what is that? They're non-pulsed. And you'll not see this face of Krishna anywhere in South India. Even in Hare Krishna Rock in Bangalore, you don't see this. This is Vrindavan Krishna. This Krishna came from Vrindavan. This Govardhan came from Vrindavan. That Kund over there, Govinda Kund, that Kund came from Vrindavan. The water of that Kund. Govardhan, Govinda, Radha Madhava, all came from Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu first came to Vrindavan, so many people came to see him. I have many friends who own means they manage big temples, and they're big families in Vrindavan. They're called Goswamis and Pandas and such. So I told my friends, I had just come from America. So then they used to ask me sometime to bring them something. Camera, cell phone, digital watch, those days. So I came, and some of my friends, they said, Maharaj, you brought anything this time? Some gold coins, something? I said, I brought more than a few gold coins. I brought a treasure. Oh, they thought. I said, they're going like, I said, no, like this big, like big treasure. And I told him, you have not seen treasure. You have not seen jewels like this. You have not seen gems like this. I said, I'm telling you, don't tell many people, there'll be problems, And they were so like, they were coming to see the Koh-i-Noor diamond or something. So they came over to our ashram, like 3 or 4 of them, and all good dress, and they came over and for the purpose of seeing this treasure that I brought from America, smuggled. And so we brought them in the temple room, and then somebody blew the conch, and we opened the curtains, and Radha Madhava, Mahaprabhu were standing on their throne, and I said, these are our gems. This is the treasure that we have. Have you seen anything more beautiful? Is there anything more valuable in the world than what stands before your eyes? And they were like, Bhagavan. And they accepted. And they were devotees, Goswamis. And they thought, that is very good analogy. They were very charmed by, yes, Krishna is the treasure, the jewel of jewels, the treasure of our heart. Nothing more beautiful, nothing more charming, no value beyond him. They appreciated it very much. Then they took prasadam. They went back, and for a long time they used to bring their friends for darshan of Radha Madhava. Then one day, Radha Madhava decided to close up shop and come here to South India, to Govindaji Gardens. So we're hoping that they stay here. Now sometimes Krishna does that. He packs up shop in Vrindavan and goes somewhere. There's a Govinda in Jaipur. He's in Vrindavan since 5,000 years. One day he just packed it up, him and all his devotees, they left and went to Jaipur. After about 200 years, the people in Vrindavan, they got a huge petition to the king of Jaipur. You please return Govindaji back to Vrindavan. Big temple in Jaipur. Every Mangal Arati, 1,000 devotees. Ekadasi, forget it. You can't even get in the gate unless you start at 2 in the morning for Mangal Arati. So many devotees daily for Mangal Arati at 4:30 in Jaipur. Janmashtami or something, forget it. You would get there days before and sleep on the ground, maybe you'll be there. So many people. So in Vrindavan they got a petition like 10,000 names to the king of Jaipur. You please return Govindaji to Vrindavan. Krishna in Vrindavan. So the king said, yes, I'm prepared to do that. 200 years ago, Govinda arrived in our kingdom, in our palace. Whenever he wants to go, he's free to go. I'll make that arrangement. But he hasn't given any indication, so in the meantime, all his devotees are here serving him in Jaipur. But when he wants to go, we'll not stop him. Then in Vrindavan, everybody's like, this is nice. This is nice. You are not the doer. You're not taking Krishna anywhere. You're not doing anything with Krishna. Krishna is doing everything himself. He's simply allowing you to be along for the fun. Like if your father goes on a tour, you're doing nothing. You're simply coming on the tour, sit down on the bus, have a snack, drink this, go here, see this, come back. Then you tell your friends, oh, I went on tour. What? You went on tour. You were simply taken on tour. Actually, we're made of stone. Krishna is the only living thing here. What is stone? Stone is dead matter. Well, these bodies are dead matter. And if you don't believe it, just see one of them about an hour after the soul leaves the body. Not a good scene. What, immediately, in 24 hours later, horrible. What is this body? Simply dead matter, and as soon as the Atma leaves, it rots. You understand? Huh? So in that way, actually we are stone, we are dead matter. But Krishna, he's not dead matter. Those who have the eyes to see can see that Krishna smiles. They have the eyes to see, they can see that Krishna is dancing. Those who are atheists, they have no vision, they think God, you people are worshipping stones. You are worshipping some rocks, or some metal, or some gold, or some silver, or something like this. But those who have the eye to see know that Krishna is reality. Krishna is real. And he has got movement. And he has got movement that controls everything. Those who are enlightened know, I do nothing, and I control nothing. Everything is controlled by Krishna. Everything is moved by Krishna. And those who don't have that vision, can you show me God? I want to see God, you can show me God? And we say, can you show me somewhere where he isn't? Show me where he isn't. Prove he's not there. Innocent till proven guilty. You prove there is no God. There is no proof. And there is proof everywhere of intelligent existence, of intelligent arrangement. Nothing is random. Everything is very organized. Even disease is very organized. It organizes itself, and it jumps up as a plague and kills people. It's not even random. Everything has an intelligent design. Intelligence means a person. And that most intelligent person, if you look in the dictionary, that is called the Supreme, of which no one is equal or greater. The Supreme. Yes, God. Yes, Krishna is that intelligent Supreme Being. So this is always going on. It's the fun of Krishna, the argument of atheism, and also the argument of different levels of theism. He is simply enjoying his play, watching the fools argue with each other in this world. But those who show devotion to him, he is not simply watching, he is watching very attentively. So much so, because then you have a commodity which God himself wants. Think about it. What could you possibly have that he would want? He created everything. Well, the rishis say, that is your love, that is your devotion. He thrives on it. He doesn't actually need to eat. What he eats is the devotion. He accepts offerings, food. But what he eats is the devotion. And there's an example of one devotee, he came to see Krishna. And he was so... No, it wasn't devotee. Krishna came to see his devotee in the house of Sudama, Brahman, I think. And his devotee was not there. Only his devotee's wife was present.
Vidura.
Vidura's wife. So Lord Krishna has come to their house. She seated Lord Krishna. She wants to offer something. She's so nervous, how to deal with Krishna. So she goes for some bananas. She gets some bananas. She peels down the banana. She takes the banana. She throws it away. And she offers Krishna the skin. Krishna, he's eating the skin. Then she peels another banana, throws the banana away, completely nervous, and offers Krishna the peeling, the skin of the banana, and Krishna is accepting and eating. You have eaten any banana skin lately? Not a good taste. Then what does he taste? Is he just being sarcastic or foolish? No, he's tasting the devotion. He's accepting the devotion. And he's relishing that. That is sweeter. That is... So not just a rich man can serve God. And doesn't mean if you're poor, you'll be automatically considered servant of God. You're rich or poor, that's irrelevant. Those things are necessary to keep the world going on. It's just, there's always been poor people. There's always been rich people. There's been somebody on the footpath going like this since 10,000 years. But in those days, if he got 4 annas in a day, he could go home and live. Now, If you give a beggar 5 rupees, what is this? What am I supposed to do with this? What gives me 5 rupees? What can I give for 5 rupees? For 4 annas, he could feed a family 100 years ago in India. And for 5 rupees, what can he give for 5 rupees? Nothing. 5 rupees is nothing. But there's always somebody going like this. You can't eliminate it. It's always there. And there's always someone rich. There's always someone poor. So rich or poor, Krishna will accept your devotion. Devotion. Now we have to understand what devotion is. And that's why we have ashrams. Devotion is free from any selfishness of our own type. Devotion is affection for Krishna, for his satisfaction. No satisfaction of our own. No selfishness of our own. There are many people, they make a business out of devotion. I'll give to Krishna, he'll give back to me. I'll serve Krishna, but under my conditions. I once said, giving a 1 lakh of rupees is easier than worshipping Krishna every day with a ghee lamp. It's much more easy to give 1 lakh of rupees. Why? Because it means when you get 1 lakh of rupees and you're ready to give to Krishna, you will give. But when it's time to offer the ghee lamp, it's not when you like. It's now. Right now, it's 8:20. It's time to do the offering. It's time to offer the lamp. What do you have to do? You have to give up everything you were doing and do Krishna's service. Then. And that takes surrender. But when I want to just give something from my own pocket, or I want to give some piece of land, that is also good. Good. But that is easier. Sometimes people think, oh, those who are living in the temple, they have easy life. Oh, we people who are living outside, we're struggling with life. Well, it's true. You do struggle with life in the world. But it's no easy life to live in the ashram. Not at all. It is not an ease lover's life. It is a life where you have to sacrifice 24 hours a day. As they say in the modern world, 24/7. Sacrifice. You have to be there. There's a time for cooking and offering and cleaning. It is much easier to live separate and be devotee of Krishna. It's very difficult to live in ashram and be devotee of Krishna, because it never stops. There is no breaks. It's just every day. Every day. That takes surrender. Not merchandising with Krishna. But whatever your position, wherever you are, you try to serve Krishna with that. Not just like, well, I have some money, I can give money. That's good. What about your thought? What about your intelligence? How about some spiritual physical energy also? We should not think, well, I'm this and I'll give this much. I'll do this. I have some good ideas, I'll give my ideas. No, your ideas are good. Please give your ideas to Krishna also. But don't be a miser and give what you don't want. Give what's dearest to your heart. If it's your family, give your family. I told this poor man in Prema Mata, give me your children. They did it. So these 2 boys, from the time they were about that big, right? We have pictures of them here. Give me your children. They did it. That is a big sacrifice. I cannot imagine any mother giving her children. That is huge, such a sacrifice. But then I didn't stop there. You also join. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Krishna Purna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopisha Gopi Kanta